Welcome back to the Confidence to Close trading series and navigating your first sale as a digital agency. I'm your host, Jeff Hershey. We're going to go and jump right into this training session and get you guys going here. This one is all about the productivity multiplier. The previous chapter covered how to properly position yourself into an effective and productive time management loop. So now we'll continue to build on that by discussing emotional efficiency and the things you can implement to multiply and magnify your productivity. I want you to think about emotional efficiency as using your emotions as drivers towards the actions that lead to success and meeting your goals. Both in business and life, there can be a tendency to use emotions or how we feel about something as an excuse or hindrance to support the fear and negativity that leads to inaction or unnecessary difficulty. And by practicing emotional efficiency, we acknowledge the emotions that come with being a human being and how our emotional state affects everything we do. And then we incorporate that into our preparation for each day to ensure that we're as productive as possible. Now, for me personally, I like to always have a little chip on my shoulder, a reason why, a target that I want to reach or go after, or somebody that I'm looking at as a competitor or create a competitive environment. They might not even know that they're in there, but I use them as my motivation. So find your motivation and find your chit to help get yourself to multiply your productivity. So if you're working in the 60-60-30 cycle, there are break times set in your day to reset your mind and your body. But remember that in order to remain productive, you need to also allow yourself a short time away from what you are currently working on within your uninterrupted work cycles if it becomes overwhelming or you hit a wall. Keep your appointments and meet your deadlines. Those are highly important, but you're working at your pace in your scheduled time and you've hit a wall or become overwhelmed to the point that you're not being productive, it's time to get up, walk away, and get yourself into that positive mental state of mind. We've all hit that roadblock, that wall, and you're probably doing more damage than good, or you're just wearing yourself down. You need to change your energy. For me, part of getting into an emotional, efficient, and productive state of mind is to get rid of that stressful energy. On a 30-minute break, maybe I'll go hit golf balls. The golf course is only 5 minutes from me where I can go hit golf balls. 8 minutes, I think, on a bad day. I'll go for a quick run or visit the chiropractor, or do some stretching or yoga. You hit the gym in the morning before work. And when I do those things, Peloton is something like that, right? I'm excited to get back to work. I'm ready to go. I'm relaxed because I've worked out a lot of the anxiety and stress that naturally comes when you've got responsibilities, deadlines, and people depending on you. And for me, in those de-stressing activities, I may catch something, quote in a song or on a Peloton. Somebody may say something as I'm watching the stream, or maybe a solution to the problem comes in. I immediately grab my phone and I make a note of that so I can use it when I get ready back, because my specific de-stress activities aren't necessarily going to work for everyone because people have different personalities, various activity levels, and maybe it's video games and diverse work schedules, right? You need to identify what helps you best de-stress, reset, and get rid of the anxiety that is keeping you from successfully reaching your goals. And that takes a little time to figure out exactly what those are. So my specific stress activities may not work for you, but we want to make sure that you are being as productive as possible. So what can you do to reduce stress and increase overall emotional efficiency? Now, you want to partner with people who have the same or similar emotional effective behaviors that you want to have yourself, so that you can emulate them and they can rub off on you. And you want to find a hobby that benefits your mind and your body. So we're looking for partners and people in our business, people that we work with on a regular basis that have the same behaviors, that have the same likes, because we all will resonate together. And then you want to find something that you can go out and do that benefits both your mind and your body. For me, it's hitting golf balls or playing golf, like just walking 9 holes or hitting some golf balls for 45 minutes. is great for me because it takes my mind off some things, but I actually feel like it's like a yoga or meditation for my brain and for my body. Delegate more and learn how to be comfortable with that. You need to be able to, once you've proven that things work and you have the system and the process in place. I'm huge on those things. You need to be able to let go just a little bit. And I'm going to tell you, it was a struggle for me, especially being type A, former pilot type things. You've got to learn to let go and know what good enough is, and that you can make those tweaks as you go. Right? I don't want an email sent that doesn't have the exact wording I want, but I got to let it go. I got to understand that we'll get there, and you do things one at a time. Over multitasking usually means a lot of things are getting worked on, but not one. No one thing is getting all the attention it needs and deserves. So you want to be able to delegate and get things done periodically, whether it be weekly or monthly. I reevaluate my priorities and plan my workflow accordingly. I'm in a cycle right now where I'm running a lot of pushing promotions inbound to our company. And right now, my priorities have changed on what we do on a daily basis, what time I show up at work, I exercise, when I exercise, that kind of stuff. So you need to reassess that on a monthly or quarterly basis. You need to make time to eat, to sleep, to rest, and have fun. And don't multitask while doing any of the other four. Right? You're not going to eat while you're sleeping, but don't eat while you're having fun and put the two together. Right? I'm not sitting there eating a peanut butter sandwich as I'm hitting golf balls and things like that. Some people like to intermittent fast or wait and skip breakfast. I've done that in cycles and at times. And it's funny, as one of the guys in my office said, you know, would you rather have a hungry lion on your side or a full lion? So before a webinar, a game, or a series, whatever, you want to have that hunter mentality, and some people use things like intermittent fasting to do that. I don't recommend it. I don't not recommend it. It's totally up to you and what you need to do for yourself and what makes you feel the best. And you don't know it until you tweak and try. Do you want to do yoga or meditation in the morning, or does it help you midday or at night or the gym? So figure out and evaluate your priorities, and then make that proper time to eat, sleep, rest, and to enjoy yourself. Big thing here is don't clock watch. Set timers and stay on a schedule. Put your phone away, put on airplane mode, and remove your watch if that becomes a problem for you. I've actually removed the clock off of the top of my computer, so I'm not always looking at the clock at the time. And if I want to, I have to look at a separate direction to go get it, but it makes me aware that I'm actually doing it. Huge thing here. This is great for if you're in a relationship, you have a spouse, family, things like that, or you want to take care of your mental health. Is schedule time for yourself, like any other appointment on your calendar, and show up for yourself. When I was working out heavily, I literally made working out with a personal trainer an appointment. I couldn't cancel on somebody that was relying on me to be there. Now, if it's just riding the bike or going for a jog, I can find an excuse to get out of it. But if you make an appointment and I'm putting it on my calendar, that's something that is highly important for me. And then you have to actually be strong enough to go out there and be willing to identify your most common anxiety, fear, stress, frustration, triggers, and formulate a plan that you can engage for yourself that diffuses those triggers and activities for your as your coping skills. So we figure out how to deal with that and come up with your coping plan on how to be able to overcome that and be able to move forward in the process. Now, we got started. I used to work out of the house, and somebody just typed in last two tips are good ones. Yeah, absolutely. So I used to work out of the house, and it was something that was really really difficult for me when I got started. So I was trying to figure out how I could be more productive. I was working a lot, but I wasn't really productive. I was just sitting there, and any distraction could take me away from that cycle. So I went and got myself a small office space. So the office space wasn't large or luxurious, but to me it was a life changer because it was all mine and I could close the door and create the exact environment that I needed to get done what I needed to get done. Now, I've since then moved, I think, offices at least once, probably twice now, since the original version of this. And what we have now is I have an office, it's two space, and I have a small executive suite, which we call the box. Lock myself in the box, and the office is here, and everybody knows not to bother me. And if they hear me talking, they won't even knock. They'll wait until there's silence. And being able to close and lock the door meant that I now have control over my environment. I can leave the door open and my staff can walk in, or if it's cracked, they knock and come in. But by creating that environment that works for me, I have the ability to stay focused and work my daily checklist. There are days where I walk in, I say hi to the guys, and I'm gone for 2 hours. There's days where I walk in and go sit down at the conference table and talk to the two guys in my office and go over there. But this allows me that during like my 60-60-30 cycle, there are breaks that, I can leave my office and can interact with people without disrupting my work schedule and productivity. But when I'm in my tight working environment, that encased area, that's hugely important. So you need to control your environment and work from there to set up, and there's some times where you need to have that productivity reset button. So we're talking a little bit about exercise. As we think about getting set up to be productive, we also need to consider how we can control the chaos that is in both our head and in our environment. And there are certain things that you can't control, and you need to be prepared to deal with those things. Kids get sick, right? My son he tripped and hit his face on a fence today. He was fine, but deliverables, aren't delivered to you. So there's other things that are happening that are going on, and maybe something you needed to be able to do your task. That there are things that can pop up in your well-planned day, especially for me. I run a very rigorous schedule. So when there's a frenzy going on around us, we need to tame that chaos and continue to move forward efficiently and get back into that state of mind that allows us to be productive. And when distractions like social media, email notifications pop up, and you find yourself drawn into them and clicking those links instead of staying focused on work, you need to hit what I call the productivity reset button. What I do when I hit the product reset button is this. I like to go into my mind and just close my eyes for a second and think about what has enabled me to be productive in the past, right? This is what happens. Now I can do it pretty quickly. I can catch myself. But when I just got started, what enabled me to be productive in the past? Do I need music? Do I need a specific type of music? Do I need absolute silence? I identify what was different about that time and mentally list out what I could do to help recreate that successful environment, execution, and outcome. Now, for me, controlling my environment allows me to reset because I can change my surroundings, therefore changing my mental and emotional state. And you might be surprised with how easily that actually is to do once you're aware of what's going on and what's causing those issues. And you can tell yourself and walk yourself through that process. So what happens when you use your productivity reset button? Now, everybody that goes through this program and goes through and we go to the training is going to have a different way that they can best reset, right? It's not one thing for everybody. I'm very uptight, type A. I thrive in specific environments that a lot of other people may not. But there's also environments that I can't handle at all. So you need to find your best reset and proceed in a more emotionally balanced and effective manner in your workday that works best for you. You're going to have to do some time and research from there. But there are a few things that are going to universally apply to all. You need to close your laptop, walk away from your computer, if you got a desktop, and go to a different space. Don't sit at your desk eating or checking social media or on your phone, because you're not allowing your brain to break away from work and properly reset. Pass through a doorway, get outside, go do something that's a little bit different. So, you found ways that can relieve your stress and let go of the day emotions and anxieties that are blocking you. So now you can get to go back and blow through those obstacles that are hindering your progress. That's what the goal is here with this. So one of the key factors is to get the sleep you need. In 2013, the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, confirmed that insufficient sleep was an actual public health epidemic at the time. So how much sleep do you need? And now there's apps. There's even your bed can tell you if you're sleeping well. You've got Fitbits and your Apple Watch and Samsung all have monitors for this stuff. So that's how highly important this is to you, that companies are profiting off of the interest in you sleeping and how well you sleep. So how much sleep do you need? Well, you probably know a guy who functions on, fine on 5 hours of sleep a night and then may sleep 14 hours on Saturday. Or maybe a super mom who, hasn't seen more than 4 hours of sleep a night since her first child was born 6 years ago and managed to pull off daily professional and personal successes with ease. But nobody else's sleep habits have anything to do with figuring out how much sleep you need for your body and your schedule. My wife can sleep, 8, 10 hours, sometimes 12 if she wanted to. Me, 6, 7, 8 is probably where my window is, unless I'm exhausted and need my body to completely recover. Now, as an adult who picks their own bedtime and sets their own alarm clock, you alone know the hours of sleep and how much sleep you need to work at optimal levels of mental and physical performance. You know this, right? So statistically speaking, if you're between the ages of 18 and 60, reports say that you need around 8 hours of sleep every night. Don't take that as an absolute, that the average number of 8 hours is the right number for you, but understand that some are going to need 9, some are going to need 7, and when you hit a consistent pattern of good sleep, you can work at an unparalleled focus that multiplies your activity. And you'd be surprised with just taking 1 week of eating healthy, not drinking, working out maybe 2 or 3 times, you might be surprised at how productive you just became by focusing on your productivity alone. I did that at the start of this year and was just blown away with what I was able to do in a small period of time, because I knew I had to hit a focused start period to my year. It wasn't a New Year's resolution. It was just one of those things where it was a great time to start it about a couple days into the year. And halfway through that month, I'd accomplished more than I normally would have accomplished in just 1 month. So let's connect some of the dots here, right? Whether you're working for yourself or for someone else, the drive to build something and exceed expectations is still strong. You've got a checklist, a mile long of things that you need to happen, and your brain has on average 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot to keep track of, process, and accomplish. You can't rely on luck to tame the chaos in your life that's going on. And random patterns are never a good business plan of action. So what I like to do is set aside a small chunk of time before each day to sit and think, to really connect the dots for the timeline of my day, to identify what state of mind I need to be in order to move past distractions and control the chaos of the day. With that in mind, I'm able to schedule the important things that I need to do at work that day during those important time frames, the ones that I know I'm most productive in, that I feel the most productive in, where I'm able to be in the right frame of mind and the right environment to execute them properly. So I actually, before I start, I have a notepad. Some people, use Evernote. Some people use notes on a Mac screen. I use a physical pen and paper, old school, and I use my over/under sheet. Essentially, my notepad is my over/under sheet, and we will go through and I will plan that either before I leave the day prior. I'll sit down for 5 focus minutes, or do it as I'm starting my day before I even read my first email, because there's some power in having the right frame of mind. You can plan, prepare, schedule, and execute your workday to perfection, and you might still not end up where you wanted to be at the end of the day. Things beyond your control happen, both good and bad, but at the end of the day, you're still facing a new day of possibilities tomorrow. You can't control everything that happens, but what you can control is your reaction to what's happening and what you do based on that, right? Even when bad things happen to your business, and I've had some great ups and real lows, there's no benefit to dwelling on the negative. It's where do you go next? Now, myself being an ex-fighter pilot, being in the military, you always want to move forward. We're pushing forward, improvise, adapt, and overcome. What do I need to do to get past this next thing? Get a hurdle. All right, I got tripped up. What do I need to do next? And your reaction to that and your emotions are what's going to help you maintain a highly productive state. A more emotionally efficient approach is to view this stumbling block as an opportunity to make an adjustment, evaluate your business, and really focus on how you're going to protect your business from this point on. You know, assess and then make the change. But by purposefully by purposefully placing yourself in the right frame of mind, you're able to diffuse the negativity and move forward in your business. A productive mindset that enables you to work successfully, not only in your own headspace, but in collaboration with others. You need to be able to go through and make those adjustments. And it's your reaction, how you choose and decide to react, that will be very, very powerful for you. So let's talk some summary and an action item that you can take with the productivity multiplier here. As we move out of time management and productivity and into now the more important piece, which is sales and persuasion, you're going to benefit from writing down what times are the busiest and when you feel you are the most productive. You're going to know this inherently. Some people, it's early morning, they get up super early. Other people, it's after breakfast, in that 11 to 1. Some people, it's late afternoon, depending on where you're at, right? Take note of your major roadblocks to success and what helps you control the chaos when things get hectic. You'll need to know these things as we move into the sales mode, where we're going to be completely laser focused on sales. So we want to get past this and get things set up. So write down the times that you are the busiest and when you're the most productive. For me, it's somewhere between the hours of 10 and 2 during the day, to be completely honest with you. I just get in, kids are get dropped off at school. It's prior to lunch. Sometimes it can be only from 10 to 12. And I also schedule my most important sales calls in those times. So if I'm running a sales webinar, you guys, if you've noticed, if you're on any of my other lists or programs, things, I run a lot of them in that 10 to 2 window as well, because that's my most productive time. That's where I feel the most productive and I have the most energy. Take note of your major roadblocks to success and what helps you control the chaos when things do get hectic. And like you're talking about, you're going to need to know these things as we move into that sales mode. So, make that list, put these down on your list before we get going here. And here's what I have for my productivity multipliers worksheet. And here's some examples that I've included. Busiest days, busiest times of the day, week, and month, major distractions and interruptions, the creators of the chaos that are out there, emotional efficiency, and controlling the chaos. And you guys will have access to this sheet and you'll be able to go through and look at that as we go. So we've gone through getting yourself up, getting set up in your work cycles, being productive, and how to get yourself in that right state. Now we're going to jump into the sales equation in our Confidence to Close series in the next chapter here. So now we're on to the good stuff, sales. This is the stuff that makes money, puts money in our account, our fastest path to cash, right? At the root of new business interactions, you're trying to sell something. Maybe it's a new product, software solution, or a training program. Perhaps it's an upgrade or a new and innovative way of thinking and doing things that you're trying to persuade others to see the things and the solution the way that you do. Now, whether you're selling a $100 video or a $3,000 a month package, mastering and having the confidence to close gets you to sold faster and easier than anything else. And this is where we start with the pre-qualification process, and we're going to talk about the sales equation. At the root of new business interactions, you're basically just out there trying to sell something. So we're going to walk you through that process right now and how to pre-qualify your prospects by putting yourself in front of the right people at the right time. Now, we want to ensure that we can provide value and close the sale right now. We don't want to be doing as follow-up for weeks or months. And in some cases you have to, but we want to get the fastest path to the close. So before you get started with your presentation, meeting, etc., you want to pre-qualify your prospect. And the script helps frame you as an expert with the position of power, ensure you are not wasting your time or theirs, and you're talking to the right person. So here's the right script that we use internally, and it's a pretty simple thing that you guys can use. So for us, I've used this for years now, and this is a script that I'll walk you through, and we'll give you a copy of it. We take a lot of pride in producing nothing less than the best results for our clients. In order to make sure that I don't waste your time, I just need to ask you a few questions about your business to make sure that we're a good fit. Our program isn't for everyone. Does that sound fair enough to you? And you'll get a yes or no, and you're going to move yourself through. All right, this is where I go through and make sure that this is the right person that I'm pre-qualifying. I'm not going to spend the next 15 minutes talking to somebody that can't make a decision. The question I ask is this: are you the person who makes the final decision, or do you have to run it by someone else first? If they are not the person that can make that decision, you're going to look to cancel and schedule that, or move to get an appointment with that person. We'll walk you through that here further in the training. Now I need to know a little bit more about their business. How long has your company been in business? How many clients do you currently have in your business? And how would you say that most of your clients hear about you? We're just getting a little bit more information. We need to know a little bit more about this business and who we're going to be working with. What types of advertising or marketing are you currently doing to expand your business? And what's your average new client value for the first 12 months? You can also ask them, what's their lifetime value of a client? How many more clients could you handle each month? And then finally, this is where I like to pre-frame and get us working towards a sale. And you can adjust this a little bit here and there depending on what you're looking for. And again, all of this is based on a specific product and service that we were selling a couple years ago. So you would adjust this to what you are selling for these now. So my last question here is, if I'm able to show you a way to generate 3 or 4 times a return on your investment, would you be open to a small investment today, say less than a couple $100 or $500 in your business? We're asking them, if I can show them the return, so I can prove to you that I can make you this money, would you be willing to invest in your business and yourself? Now, those are just some basic pre-qualification questions that we've got. They're not that hard, and we'll provide them for you. You've likely heard of the 80-20 rule, and this applies to sales and marketing in a way that you've never thought of. In this equation, you're going to spend 80% of the time you interact with a prospect simply listening to and learning about the person you're communicating with. You then maximize the other 20% of your time using what you've learned in that 80% to get the prospect to trust you and to buy in on what you're selling. Now, people talk about, they know, like, and trust. They buy people that they know, like, and trust you, right? Realistically, they buy if they've got confidence in your product and your service and the solution. They want to move away from a point of pain, and you're someone that they can relate to, and they understand that they like you, and they can relate to where you're coming from and who you are. They also want to know that you care about them. By listening 80% of the time, you're acknowledging that you care about their pain points, that their business, and what they have, and they feel like you're truly somebody that cares, that you like them. It's not necessarily them liking you, that you like them, and they were going to want to like you back. With the 80-20 rule, you're able to put your best foot forward, because when they're doing most of the talking, it's coming from the prospect. They're giving you valuable information and signals and insights to their business. This is a wealth of information that you can be pulling from them. The added bonus is that what they are saying to you, maybe the words you said to them, but those words now become their own idea, and you removed the resistance you encounter when people feel that they're being force-fed a canned sales pitch, force-fed the answers to the problem, right? They feel like it's become their idea, and they are building trust, and they're going to buy in on what you're selling. You need to learn a little bit about the business, not just your contact or the person that you're trying to sell. You need to understand how you can help them, how you can solve that problem, and how to go from there. Now, in most cases, the salesman in all of us is focused on getting the opinion of the business owner or the decision maker. We aren't paying any attention, much less listening to the person at the front desk or the customers in the office or the store, or what their reviews look online, or the overall condition of their business. And this is a huge mistake. We need to be attentive at all times. Look at the big picture all the way down to the granular, and not just pay attention to the client, business owner or representative that we are directly dealing with. You need to look at the bigger scope. We want to be aware of how everybody is interacting with you, how they answer the phone, how they interact with you and with others, not just you, but with others and their customers. And we'll dive into how to remember a name and anchor things to people later in the book and in the process and in this training. But you're going to need to notice the little things and learn a little bit more about the business people and the culture that you're interacting with and that you're selling to. So you're really gathering some intelligence. You want to take all the notes of all the information that you can. So when communicating with prospects and leads, get all the notes and information that you can, because there might be something that they can key in that help you key in later on where you can be a connector for somebody else. So a good manager, salesperson, or direct marketer can walk into a business, talk about their product or service, and gather intelligence from every single interaction that they're going to have. They're going to file those notes away so that they can remember their unique features and needs of each business that they are dealing with. So if I'm able to refer to one of my clients, another client, or say, I think I have a solution for you, you now are gaining some rapport, but you're also setting yourself up by interacting and working with these businesses by taking notes for every interaction you have. The moment you walk out the door, sit in your car, hang up on a sales call or a webinar demo, take some notes, and then review that packet of that profile of the individual, of that company, that business, and notice if the same staff is there, if they're having high churn, how they interact with you, the phone call, how they answer it, how they answer and reply to your emails. They seem like they don't have time or they're irritated, and go from there. So we'll give you some examples of predetermined questions that you can use for in intelligence gathering. And you can even pepper these in throughout the day, ask some questions throughout your presentations and things like that. So here's a couple of them. What do you think about your overall marketing plan? Right? These are some predetermined questions that I would like to ask as we go through, sit down. This is a pretty open-ended question. Like, what do you think about your overall marketing plan? Well, it sucks. We don't have one. Or I think we're really doing good. We're crushing it right now with PPC or SEO or pay-per-call or but our reputation sucks. Why? Whatever it needs to be. So what do you think about your overall marketing plan? How are you building or maintaining your brand and your reputation online? Like how do people see your business, and change that out for whatever your service is that you're offering, right? Now in this case, how are you utilizing social media to wow potential clients to pick you over the other doctors, dentists, roofers, painters, HVAC in your area? What are you doing to stand out? Do you have a plan to prevent, whatever, a negative review online in this case? Or do you have a plan to talk to every single lead that visits your website? Do you have a plan for X out there? How are you interacting with your current clients and to have them bring you more customers to refer? Do you have a referral program? How are you communicating regularly with your current customer base so they know who you are, they remember who you are, and you're not just a once a year text or email, or an appointment reminder? Are you utilizing your current customer base to get more phone calls into your business? These are all little questions that you're looking to see how deeply they are, how deep they go into their marketing. Would you be interested in a quick feedback survey for each recent customer? Would you be interested in me showing you where your best ROI is coming from? How would you normally handle that, right? So I can go out there and ask them, if I show you where your best market return investment is coming over the next 30 to 60 days, does that sound good to you? How would you normally handle this scenario? How would they handle this question? All little open-ended questions you guys can set up, but you're going to have those predetermined. You're going to only use about 3 to 5, or 2 to 5 of them that are out there, trying to make sure that it's positioned based on you being the solution to their problem, no matter what you sell. It's out there. And to do that, to be able to get that and get yourself set up, is you got to be in the right state of mind. You got to get your mind right, right? Have you ever been around someone and you just knew they were having a bad day and hoped that you weren't going to have to deal with them? Like a cashier who looked like he hated his job, or a waitress who seemed like she's going through a breakup, right? Is it just is is just a bad vibe, and you just naturally want to avoid it. So when you walk into a situation frustrated, angry, upset, or apathetic, people feel that. I mean, I can tell if my wife can usually tell if I had a great day or a bad day at home, and I know I feel the energy. And sometimes we don't pay attention to this completely, but um, people do feel that. There's no effective, much less persuasive conversation that develops from the apprehension you've created by having negativity. You need to be able to get yourself right. So get yourself in the right mind, and you need to learn to understand yourself as a person. We are humans. We are not perfect. I don't care where you come from, your economic level, your race, your religion. Understand who you are as a person and what motivates and gets you fired up, what gets you in that state of mind where you're ready to talk to people or ready to go. And if you're an introvert, what gets you motivated to selling things, like how to get past that initial setup. So what frustrates or upsets you and gets you off track? How do you effectively cope with negativity that's in there? And these questions do go back to the productivity multipliers in the previous discussions. And if you are in the right frame of mind, take that needed break and reset. You have to do it for yourself, because you're gonna project that on to the person that you're dealing with. If you have to cancel something or take that 30-minute block prior to a meeting or a call and cancel out that 60-60-30 for just a little bit to go out there and take that mental break and get yourself set up, go do it. When you understand your own mental state and what headspace you need to be in to perform at your best, you know you're going to be the most effective and persuasive. There's certain things that I do before a call or webinar for myself, or if in-person meeting. I prepare. I take the 30 minutes. Sometimes I can get it down to 20. Sometimes it's all the way up to 45 minutes where I take a break. Do I need to eat? Do I need to turn all of my before the call? Nobody can send me something 5 minutes or 20 minutes or even 30 minutes normally before something that's big that I'm going to do. I'm going to propose. Send out a proposal, or if I'm going to talk to a large group, or if I've got a meeting with somebody that's the head of a business, I shut down 30 minutes prior and get into preparation mode. I need to be in the right mental state so that nothing can pop up 5 minutes beforehand that there's an issue, so that it changes my overall state. So when you understand your own mental state and what headspace that you're in, you're going to perform at your best, and you know you're going to be the most effective and persuasive that you can be. Here's what to do when they won't stop talking, and how to inject a pattern interrupt into a conversation. So the best way to control is to overlay a talkative person, to control an overly talkative person is to use a pattern interrupt, right? Catch them on a breath and make a statement in the form of a question that has a yes or no. So you've got them talking and you're listening and noting the things that are useful to you for your sale, but they just won't stop talking. You're giving them 80%, but Chatty Cathy over here is talking 95% of the time. There is a point, and it has happened to me plenty of times with sales calls or clients, where I'm literally like thinking, man, this is supposed to be a 10-minute call, and now it's 15 minutes in, and I've got to interrupt them cordially and correctly. And the best way to control an overly talkative person is with a pattern interrupt. This isn't just jumping in and interrupting them. You got to catch them when they're taking a breath and make a statement in the form of a question that has a yes or no answer. Now, I've repeated this twice on the slide because it's highly important. So, and this is what I'm going to say right here to the individual, and this is what we're going to do to get that yes or no question. So write this down, save it. So what you are saying is that you want to prevent X or Y. So what you're saying is statement, is that right? Now, it can be prevent a potential 1-star review before it becomes a public posting online. What you're saying is that you're not seeing a return on the investment of your ad spend. So what you're saying here is that you'd like to be able to generate more leads off of your website. Is that right? That's how you stop them inside of that pattern interrupt. So here's the key to this. So what you're saying is that, and then blank out, put in your statement. So what you are saying is that you want blank. Is that right? Simple and effective. And I've done this a lot over the last decade or so. And I've even had some social experiments. So to learn more about how people interact and react to each other, I like to do some social experiments, and it helps you become a better communicator if you experiment with some of these yourself. I truly believe it, and it's worked for me. So what I'll do is I'll walk up to a group or join a group in an appropriate setting that is already engaged in a conversation. Now, if I want to guide that conversation, I'll snap my fingers or clap my hands together real quick. And if you do this loud enough, it makes everybody stop talking for a second and focus on you to see what's going on. And I just walk up, it's like, all right, like I'm here, I'm in the conversation. It's a pattern up. This is where I can jump in and with the 80-20 rule and guide the conversation towards what I want to talk about with trigger questions. So I just walk up to a group and be like, clap my hands, snap my fingers. Snap my fingers a little bit more like people think you're doing NLP or things like that. So I normally just walk up and like, hey, I'm ready. I'm here. Clap my hands and good to go. And I'm able to do that and just kind of then guide that conversation and go through. We're talking a little bit more how to do that here in some of the other trainings as we move forward. But let's talk about the sales equation. So the sales equation flat out works, and the 80-20 rule is going to help make you become a better communicator, a better closer, and more effective in naturally persuading people. Um, it, but it is only effective if you practice, prepare ahead of time with your trigger questions. I walked you through some of the ones that I've been using over the last decade. And then most importantly, listen and learn from the majority of your interaction. This is key. This is like the biggest thing you can do is learn to listen and understand what people want from and what your prospects want from there. When you can do that, you will gain everything you need to persuade your prospect. Be able to plant the seed, build rapport, and guide the conversation to the conclusion that you want. So we've talked about sales equation today, but next in the next training, we're going to cover and we're going to start out with persuasive selling in the Confidence to Close series. So I look forward to working with you on that and diving into the next chapters of this training.